Good morning. Welcome to Droidcon Italy, The Extra. Thank you very much for joining us here online today. My name's Lucy James. I was your host at Droidcon Italy last week. And here I am today bringing you The Extra. We like to bring you just a little bit of extra Android learning and content. And we've got a great presentation coming up for you this morning. First, I would like to welcome here on camera with me, Marco Porfirio. We were a team together last week, and here we are again. Marco, how are you today?
Hi Lucy, I'm good, thanks. Did you get some rest after after the Droidcon?
No?
No? Great.
What about you?
Just a little bit.
Okay,
So
cool. It's lovely to see you again. We had a really good 2 days together, didn't we?
yeah, it was really intense, I think.
It was intense. But the important thing, and this is what I want to get to, the important thing is there was so much that happened in those 2 days. It's already Wednesday now. You've had 3 days back in the office. What did you actually take from DroidCon and have you put into practice already, Marco?
In practice, a little, but the thing that probably I loved most was the interaction with people. After all this time, I usually work at home, so the chance to meet so much people together are not so much lately. So I really like that part. So the interaction with human beings. I mean,
Yeah, I think I had smile ache from smiling so much.
yeah,
It was really good, wasn't it? And
yeah,
the presentations, I mean, we had some great content at DroidCon, didn't we?
yeah. Sorry.
We had brilliant content at
Yeah,
DroidCon.
a
Now
lot
you've,
of.
you've had a chance to reflect a little bit. I know I asked you there what your favourite topics were, your favourite presentations. Is anything else, now you've had a chance to rewatch and think about it, anything else that really stood out for you as like, really important, really great presentation?
I think that a lot of presentation were really good, especially on the on the newest things that we usually don't know. We started with a great keynote about AI from Google, from Lawrence Moroni, and it was something really new for us as mobile developers, and I think that the last one was by Daniele Bonaldo that showed us another new thing, another SDK developed by Google to work with multiple screens. And it was another really new thing because it was just in a closed beta, and Daniele in some way had the chance to try it before all the other developers in the world. So he gave us a sneak peek of what we can do with that particular SDK. So I think that we learn really a lot of new things, new stuff, and there is really a lot of work going on from Google, and not only to bring us new tools to use in our everyday
Yeah.
work.
Well, then there's no pressure on you, Marco, but I mean, we're going to be expecting amazing development and, coding projects from you in the future.
I hope so.
Yeah. No excuses, no excuses. And today's presentation just adds to that long list of excellent content and new new information, new ways to work with Android, doesn't it? Let's welcome also to our the extra today. We have Filippo and Davide. Hello from Nita Robotics. I hope I said it well. Welcome, guys.
Hi. You say it perfectly. So
Great. And so glad that you could join us for the webinar today.
thank you. It's our pleasure as well.
Great. And I am right in thinking, because you told me you guys were at Droidcon last week, yeah?
Yeah.
Brilliant. So why don't we just take a quick intro moment, just share with us some of like the things that you enjoyed most from those 2 days on site.
Yeah, we liked a lot the talk about multi-module because it's something that we wanted to introduce in the near future in the project, since it will speed up a lot the building time of our project, but also we have a really comprehensive test suite. So having each time all the tests running, it's not super efficient. So we wanted a way to isolate each module and their test. So taking a look at the approach of the speaker and his fault and what could be improved was really helpful for us. Also, we work with Bluetooth because we have a connected robot that during the linking phase with the cloud, it uses the Bluetooth to exchange data and send the SSD, the password, and so on. So taking a look at the approach of the speaker was interesting. Also, we can improve our permissions in order to ask the user only when it's needed. So there are some tiny optimization that we can do. Obviously, they are quick, but we were focused on this presentation right now, so we haven't done yet. But it's the next thing that we are going to do soon. And also, I enjoyed the talk about Android 13 because we had some issues lately with Android 13 because the Bluetooth protocol changed a little, so we had an important bug to fix, and also notifications are handled in a different way. So having a more technical and really well explained view on the topic was helpful.
Cool. Very good.
You
Yeah.
liked really
Also,
a lot
we
of
work
thoughts.
remotely, so we finally had chance to meet people and the Android community. So also during the coffee break, it was awesome to have the chance to talk to other developers and find new find new topic to talk. Yeah.
Right. And did you guys have the chance to try Kotlin multi-platform since it was probably the hottest topic on this year Droidcon?
We were curious about Kotlin multi-platform, but actually I was surprised that there were so many talks about it. So we were feeling like it's more important than we thought, because yeah, when there is something important, you can see because in Droidcon there are like a lot of talks about it. So like in the previous years, there were Flutter or I don't know other topics that. There were a lot of topic, for example, compose as well was a really big topic like 1 or 2 years ago. And so for sure we will dive deep in this topic, although maybe it's a little too early for us because, as I said, probably multi-module will bring us more value in the near future. But obviously, having a shared approach for libraries and for business logic will help us a lot with the development.
Awesome.
I
I mean,
think
it's
that
oh, sorry, go ahead.
sorry. I think that the other thing will be convince the iOS team to adapt this new technology.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's not easy
Probably
because
the
they.
hardest part.
Yes, sorry,
Um,
sorry.
no worries. I mean, just like we had at Droidcon, there's so much to say about all of the different things that are happening in the market at the moment. That's one of the reasons that we're all here together today, is to squeeze an extra presentation in and just get an extra bit of Android learning in for our audience. So guys, I know you have an awesome presentation lined up, and I think we should kick off. We should kick off now. So have a great presentation. Everybody watching, you can post questions directly on YouTube. Marco will grab your questions and he will ask them afterwards. So we will see you for Q&A after. You guys have a great presentation.
Thank you. So let's start. So thank you, everybody. As we have said, I'm Filippo and I'm here with Davide, and we will present you our talk about functional feature flags. And it's an approach that we have found online about how to develop multiple features at the same time, and also multiple projects and handle multiple products with different abilities and different behaviors that will go to the market. But let's talk real briefly about us. So we are two Android developers with 9 years of experience. I studied in Padua computer science, while Davide studied in Bologna computer engineering. And also we wanted to present you real quick our company in order to have an understanding of the reason why we choose feature flags.
Can't keep up with the dust? No worries. Neato has you covered. No more dirt, dust, and dander. Just clean rugs, carpets, and hardwood floors. Neato Robotics, the ultimate cleaning machine.
So as you can see, Neato is a company created in America. We develop robots that cleans the house. And our focus right now in Italy is to create two amazing apps for iOS and Android. And as you can see on the right, our main features are stuff like creating zones, create no-go zones, so where the robot can clean, like the kitchen, but also zones where the robot cannot go in order to avoid errors, mistakes, and problems. And beside this, we have routines, we have the settings of the robot, the history, the different maps of the house. So there are a lot of features and a lot that are coming. Also, we have 3 different products that we will see later briefly, and but there are more that are going to come. So it's really a problem for us to develop all these features together, and at the same time let our testers to test in isolation all the new features that we are developing without having issues, regressions, and so on. So for this reason, we decided to use a feature flags. Obviously, this is a super quick and dirty and easy way to develop a feature flag. So basically, here is a static approach on how to use it, where you have a variable that can be changed from false to true. And when you change it, when you change the variable, you just use a different implementation of the same algorithm. So obviously our approach is a more complicated and more reactive, and it uses functional programming in order to have a reactive app that can change and be dynamic to what are the features that the user wants to see in that particular moment. But this is just to give you an idea of what we are talking about in order to have an understanding of the pros and cons of this approach. So why should we use feature flags and why they are a great choice for developing your new features? Obviously, the main reason is because you might have a lot of unfinished features. So you want to release updates on production of your app, but at the same time, you might want to release just 1 or 2 features, but not all the features that are in progress. So in most of the cases, it's difficult to freeze up the development and like remove the features that are in progress and just release the features that are ready. In this way, with Feature Flex, it's super easy because you just have to turn on the feature that you want to release and turn off the features that are incomplete and that are not ready for production. Also, feature flags are a great way to do A/B testing. So if you want to release to some of your customers a version of the app and another version to other customers, you just can turn the feature flag on for some customers and off for someone else. Obviously, with our approach, you can do it both on the app, but also on the server side. So, for example, we had cleaning zones that weren't ready yet for our users. So, also the 8 users will add the features turned on, but on server side, not on the app. When the feature was finally ready, both on the app and in the robot. So this approach can let you also do this type of thing that can be valuable for the business. Also, this approach is a great way, as I said, to let the testers test what they really want, because probably you have a big testing team. We have a quite important testing team in America and in China. The reason is because our products should be reliable, and also we have a lot of different features at the same time, but we want that each person that will test our app can select exactly the features that he wants to test, in order not to have instabilities or regressions in features that are under development. And also in this way we can establish what features are stable for release and what are not. Also, as I said, we have multiple products. So here you can see our current lineup of the latest product, so the 8, the 9, and the 10. They have some changes, so the cleaning mode that are available in the 10 are more than in the 8. Also, the 8 and the 9 and the 10 have multiple cleaning zones. And there are more features that are going to come to the market that will make these products a little different. So we have to show the user only the abilities, only the features that they can actually use with its robot, but in a dynamic way. So if I delete the robot and add a new one, I want to see a different app with different features, and feature flags help you do it really in an easy way. Also, as you can imagine, we always want to be fast in delivering and to create value, both internally for our testers, but also for our clients. So we do continuous integration and continuous delivery. So we deliver each week a new build internally for our SQA team, so for the testers. But every build should be enough stable to be released to the public, to be promoted as a production build. So we need a way to integrate all the code every time, and have an app that can be with some on and off variable can be released immediately without any change that can lead to bugs and issues. So this approach helps us to do so in a very productive way, and we are really happy of this approach until now. Obviously, this is not the only approach. Another common and a lot used approach is branching. So basically, real simple, you create a different branch in your code with this new feature. This is an alternative that a lot of people use every day for all the features. Seems like a bad choice after you start using feature flags, but actually it can be really useful in a couple of occasions. For example, if you want to create a proof of concept and you are not sure that your code is going to be merged in master because you don't know whether the product team will approve it or it's actually faster than old approach and so on, you might want to create an epic branch that is not going to be merged until the decision has been made. Another reason might be a long-lasting refactoring. So we have obviously our testing, a testing suite. We are right now working with small PRs, so we are not doing trunk-based development, but we are really close to it. So for this reason, if we want to create a really big refactoring, for example, for zones, so a feature that is already on production, we might want to create an epic branch for this refactor in order to create small PRs that will end in this epic branch in order to get reviews and let the other developers see what we are doing. And then merge it to the master branch only when the refactory is done, in order to be always able to release an application that is working even if the implementation might be the old one. So as I said, this can be a valid alternative even with feature flags. But now I will, it's Davide's turn, and he will explain to you more in details how to implement this solution.
So thanks, Filippo. I know that we are all developers, and I know that to keep the attention high, I think that we have to show some line of code. So let's take a closer look at the implementation of feature flag. MVVM is the architectural pattern recommended by the Android platform. It's widely supported through the Jetpack libraries, and definitely I think is the most used by the developer community. Even before the introduction of feature flag in our project, we followed this architecture, and it was therefore relatively easy to adapt this feature to the existing code base. In fact, starting from the implementation basics, we used the data classes to all the parameters of feature flag, and we used the Kotlin utility function for manipulation and comparison, for instance. The other goal is to make this configuration available from every part of the app, hopefully from different view models. And following the MVVM guidelines, it was intuitive to use a repository for that. And since we want to be cool and responsive, we did it through a flow. Next. The requirement is to provide a rudimentary UI to SQA team so that they can independently enable or disable any feature and see the change reflected in the app in real time. As Filippo anticipated, this admin panel is essential to allow the app user to interact directly with the general configuration. To achieve this goal, we took advantage of the UI provided by the Android system. So we are extending a preference fragment using simple switch preference. As you can see from the snippet, is a really easy XML code, so nothing really special. Next. One of the more significant advantages of using feature flag in a functional way is combining different business logic inside the repository while try to maintaining very readable code. We have often used flow combine function to merge different data sources and apply particular condition to give a final configuration instance. This configuration is the result of both the input provided by the admin panel we just see, the characteristic of the currently linked robot in our case, and for sure, theoretically, countless other conditions. We can see the code in this slide. Yeah, really simplified code. And in this case, we can see like magical feature one, for instance, will only be available if for sure enabled by the SQA team, and in this case supported by the robot. Also because Filippo said that we had to configure multiple robots with different abilities. While in the second case, Magic Feature 2 is available only in the case of a feature flag and in the presence of at least one robot linked to the user. Next. So, put it all together in this short video. We see the use case where an administrator can enable and disable multiple cleaning zone features. In fact, inside the map view, in the first case, the selection of a new zone implies the selection of the previous one. While in the case of active multiple cleaning zone flag, the UI for multiple selection is enabled. In the code shown in this slide, we noticed how the bottom sheet state is obtained with a combination of three different states. The configuration of our feature flag, the first one, as you can see, we are using the map function for flow, the number of zones that the user intends to select, and in the end, we can see the number of the number of robots associated to the user. So that's pretty simple logic contained in this view model. We know that the view, which must never have references to the feature flag, will observe its state and react in real time. And Android, as you know, offers many possibilities to achieve this goal. So we can use data binding, observing flow, or converting it to old live data for more nostalgic developers. This is just one of many examples of the usage of this feature. Other maybe are more fascinating from a technical point of view, but since they are not being released to the public, I cannot show them in this slide, at least if I want still to have a job tomorrow. Next. As we mentioned before, feature flags are often used to manage feature under development and that still need to be present in the production application. But what happens when the feature is finally released and we no longer need the feature flag? For sure, we want something other than obsolete code in our code base, as you all know. Also because the golden rule, less code leads to less bug, always applies. Next. The great advantage of this functional approach to feature flag is to have a configuration class from which we can delete parameters we no longer need. Once it's done, the compiler will do the work for us. and point out all the occurrences where the parameter was being used. In most cases, will be enough to simplify the logic inside the view models, and the output will continue to work exactly as before. Referring to the previous use case, deleting these two lines of code lead us to have the same flow that the multiple zone selection requires. So now the code part is finished. I can leave the floor to my colleague Filippo.
Yes, so let's talk now about the pros and cons of this approach, and so why we have choose this way of development. Obviously, the main advantage is to have only one build and avoid multiple builds. This seems also like magic because you see the app that dynamically change and its behavior is always on point with what you want to see in the current test or in the product that you are using. Obviously, you can change also the UI, you can change also the theme, so the color of the app, you can change everything. So you can also develop two different products with the same app, but with more or less the same functionalities. So this will help you a lot in reducing confusion, also for testers that have only one app and that they shouldn't uninstall and reinstall every time a new build for a new feature testing. And also it lets the tester to test a combination of features. So if you have 2 or 3 different features that you want to test at the same time, you can easily do by enabling only these 3 feature and letting all the others to off. Another obvious advantage is that you avoid the late integration as much as you can. Obviously, every time you do a merge, also when you have a big merge of an Epic branch, is always a big pain, as you can see in the picture. So in this way, we are working to have the smallest possible integration and the smallest possible PRs in order to be easy to review and immediately see if our code is working correctly with the other code and not discover after months of development that only one part of the code is actually working and it's not compatible with another feature that my colleague is developing. Obviously, this approach has some minor disadvantage. The first one is to be really careful on how many features you are doing at the same time. A good practice for agile development is always to stop starting and start finishing. So create a small feature, or at least be fast in closing the features and merge it to actually master without any feature flag. In this way, you don't have many toggles with on and off, and that can lead the testing team to insanity because they don't know what to enable, what to disable, and what flag, what feature depends to what other feature. So it can get complicated, but fortunately for us until now, there weren't so much this problem because we are really careful on deleting feature flags once we release. And also another disadvantage is that combinations might not always work because if you have only 2 features, you have only 4 combinations. But if you have 6 or 9 features, you have a lot of combinations of features that can be on and off, and all the combinations should work properly because you don't know tomorrow which feature will be released. So also the testing can be not so easy because you might test only the feature when all the features are on, or only when one feature is on and the others are off. So it's not easy to take care of all these combinations. Be careful that every combination is actually working. For us, until now, we hadn't actually a lot of bugs. Because of that, we had just a couple. And this happened because there was an overlapping of features. So we removed the feature and we put the same another image, replacing the old one, but with a different functioning. This replace had us to some issue because the behavior is quite different in the two implementations. So it might happen, but it's quite rare. Also, as I said, it's quite costly to have so many versions at the same time of the same app and to maintain all of them, and also be able to test it, for especially I think for UI. So if you have a old UI and a new UI, it's difficult to handle these two views, and it's also difficult to use feature flags. So in some occasions we decided to have like a old fragment and new fragment type of approach. Obviously this approach it's not super cost effective, so the less you use feature flags, the better it is. So use it only when it's actually needed. So let's have some key takeaways just to recap what we have said until now. So prefer feature flags every time you can over branching. Also keep the active feature flags to the bare minimum, in order to avoid confusion and to be more productive. And prefer a dynamic and functional approach in order to have a reactive app instead of multiple builds. Try at least to test all the possible combinations of the feature flags, or at least try to test the most probable situations in order to avoid surprises when the app is released to your testing team. And finally, always remember to clean up once you have done. So once you release the app, always remember to clean up everything. And that's all for us. I hope that this talk will be helpful for you. And I guess that it's question time.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. That was awesome. I am going to take away stop starting and start finishing and apply it to my entire life.
Yeah, it's a really tough thing to do in practice, but once you try to do it, it's actually useful because we had some long-lasting features,
Yeah.
and every time we have a long-lasting feature is always painful. There are factorings, and it never comes to the market. So I think that it's an important takeaway that we haven't write down.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed that. Thank you. I'm going to hand over to Marco, who is going to lead you through the questions for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for your talk. It was really helpful, I think. In synesthesia, we ended up with a similar solution few weeks ago on a particular project, because we had exactly the issue that you mentioned about leaving a branch for a really long time unmerged, and at the end, when you have stuff for months that you cannot merge for some reason, the merge is always really painful. So we started to use this kind of approach. I have some question for you. The first one is, when you start to develop a new feature, do you start from the flag part? I mean, the part when you enable and disable the feature, or from the real feature?
We always start with the flag because As I said, we have to do continuous integration, continuous delivery. So each week we should release an app that can go to the market. And for this reason, it's like a shield. So you have this shield that protects you for your unfinished code to the public. So we start with the feature flag, we hide the implementation, and yeah, we remove the feature flag at the end.
Okay, and the secret screen that you use only for the QA team, I mean the preference screen, I think that is something that shouldn't go to the final user. Is it something that you show only on some specific flavor, or I don't know, you have some secret menus in the app that goes in production too?
Yeah, you're right. And for obvious reason, the screen will be only available to tester. And for our specific app, we made this available only for specific flag. So the level of flag and it will be not available in the production flavor. So the final user will never see that screen.
Yeah, for sure it's safest. And there is a question for you in the chat. Fabio asked if is it possible to have the state of a flag persisted, enabled or disabled, if you can persist that state with this method.
Yeah, we are also using, sorry,
Go
we are
ahead.
also using preference, the Android preference, in order to have this flow persistent also during the application installing this install operation.
Also, we have like two types of feature flags. So we have the feature flags in the app, so what Davide has shown, but also there is a config that we download from the cloud, and the two feature flags like mix one with the other. So if we want, for example, to persist that the D8 has cleaning zones, we put that info in the cloud, and every D8 will have this option on, basically.
Okay, that was my my next question. If the feature is something that you enable only locally or also from the backend. So is it something that you use also to make some feature appears to the final user?
Yes, I think it's also a way that you can give power to the product team, so they can like decide this robot for now has this feature, or I don't know, the feature is not working properly, just disable it. So some features are enabled from a flag on the backend, and other features, I don't know, are refactoring of the UI. It's only local, because we don't want to have this feature dynamic. So according to the need of the feature, we have both approaches or only one of them.
Okay. And you talked about A/B testing at the start of your presentation. Are you using it? Do you use something like Firebase to achieve it, or is it something that you use your server to make some user to see some feature? And
I mentioned this approach because also in theory it's something that is widely used. Right now we have more a different approach. So right now what we are doing, we have designers that create a different implementation of the same design, and they do workshop with real users, and they ask the user to try to use each design, and they ask them questions, and they see how they are doing. So basically, once the users have given us their feedback, the final design is decided and then implemented. So we have I don't know, a top-down approach, not the vice versa. But it's something that we can do. So for some reason we want to release a feature only to a percentage of the user, it's something that we can do. Although I have to say that we didn't do it until now. Even if we have, we are using Firebase to gather information about the usage of the app, what screens are selected, what is the flow of the user. But for now, we didn't do an A/B test as in the example.
Okay, cool. And do you think that using this kind of approach makes you save time or invest more time that developing the feature without the feature flag?
I had to work to a couple of epics that they couldn't be under feature flags, and it was really painful. So I had to say that this approach is it's really better. And when you do branching type of development, you are like thinking. I have to go fast because I want to integrate. You are always like running because you want to integrate as soon as you can, because you are like afraid of the big conflict that will arise at the end. So I think that this approach has saved us a lot of time. The only I think that the only features that we had some, I don't know, not issues, but some slowdowns are when you are refactoring UI, because in that case you might want to create a copy of the UI because the difference is too big, so you have to maintain basically two views at the same time, and this is actually really similar to branching, but in the same code base. So only in that case, I think that feature flags are more or less like branching, but it's difficult that they are worst.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for your presentation and for your time. It was super clear and super helpful for me. I'm sure that it was really helpful for a lot of other guys. So
Thank you.
thanks again, and hope to see you on stage next year at Droidcon.
We hope as well.
I hope so.
Okay, thanks again.
Brilliant hook, Marco. Get them in there.
Yeah, I mean, their presentation was great, so why not?
Why not? We've had, I feel like we've been spoiled this year with the Droidcon content. Like we've had an overwhelming amount of awesome presentations, haven't we?
Yeah, they were really a lot, and a lot of them unfortunately couldn't fit inside the agenda, because otherwise the Droidcon should last, I think, 5-6 days. So to have only 2 days, of course, there are a lot of super interesting presentation that cannot fit inside the agenda.
Sure. I mean, there's so much happening. It makes me wonder whether we should, even though we can all do these back in person events, whether we should be scheduling more of these type of webinars, you know, more opportunities for sharing the content and engaging online. Maybe we should check with the community.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, cool. All right. So that's something for me to do. All right. Marco, thank you so much for your time as always. Lovely to see you again, and happy developing.
Thank you, Lucy. Thanks again.
All right. You're welcome. Thanks. So thank you very much for joining us for The Extra. Who knows if we will be back with you for some future webinars and more content, more Android development content. Stay in touch via our social media channels. We mostly use Twitter, LinkedIn, and Telegram. And sign up to the newsletter. That way you never miss a thing. Thank you very much. See you soon.